moving forward to our next standalone session of the day, titled UPI's Upper Role. For this session, we have Abhisar Sharma, Chief Executive Officer, National E-Governance Asset Data Limited. Please join me in welcoming him up on the stage.
Good evening all, and thank you Financial Express for having me here. I think that was an interesting session just preceding mine because I represent the Government of India's account aggregator business, which is I am the CEO of National E-Governance Asset Data Limited, and prior to this I was the founding team member of NPCI. So both these topics are pretty close to me, and I've been invited by the FE to talk about the product that we launched way back in 2016. And I'm very happy to, and it becomes very nostalgic to recapitulate that we started with just 93,000 transactions in May 2016. And of course, I hear there are people from Kotak Bank here. There were a few banks who actually helped us in the beginning. And, So that's a little bit about me. The previous company that I used to work for, which is NPCI, the founding team member of that, and then now I represent NeSL Asset Data Limited, which is into account aggregation. And I would like to assure the panelists who were there before me that if you were to use account aggregator, your digital lending will go that many times up. And today, as I speak to you, last month UPI, I'm told by my colleagues there, clocked 9 billion transactions from 93,000 that we saw. And it was a hard nut. So quickly we'll go to what is UPI. And to this August gathering, there's nothing that I can tell you more that you already know. But as I was telling last time during the Honorable Minister's speech, that India is close to 46% of the global digital payments today and leads Japan, China, South Korea, the next 5, Thailand, all put together, we do more than them. Next 5. This is how it is. And it's thanks to the 1.4 billion people that are Indians here. So any good product will really do well. And I understand that, this is what UPI is basically. So basically it's one of the most, I would say, one of the best payments, not because we were there when we actually launched it, but it is one of the best payment systems which actually works very seamlessly. Now, what is so unique about it? You don't have to disclose any of your banking IDs for you to transact in a UPI. It's as good as Abhisar Sharma at readofmail.com, for example. So that is quite unique. But then even if somebody knows that, he or she cannot do anything to forge anything in that. So that was the first, I would say, important point wherein which led to the UPI success. Of course, Honorable PM's focus in Man Ki Baat and several platforms that he spoke about Bheem, about UPI, about IMPS and stuff like that. And of course, demonetization and thereafter, of course, COVID, which was indispensable in helping people out during the times where it was a no-contact world. So, as all of us know, the USPs of UPI would be pay or request money digitally. Even bank holidays, that is very interesting. You don't have to be bound by banking hours. All banking accounts can be accessed using a single UPI app. Bheem in this case, it could be GPay, it could be PhonePe, whatever you guys are using. No need to provide any of the, as I was telling you, need not provide any banking credentials. For example, a 6 or a 4-digit ATM pin or stuff like that. Neither the pay nor the beneficiary is required, as I was just telling you like that. And of course, payments can be made directly through the VPA, which is a virtual payment address, which is unique to you. So if my name is Abhisar Sharma, anyone else can have it only Abhisar Sharma 1, 2, 3, 4 and so forth, right? So it is with this fund transfer bill payment is completely free of cost as of now, because Government of India is, reimbursing the banks for the expenses incurred. So it's technically not free, but government is promoting it big time. So make full use of it, I would say. And of course, complaints can be raised through the mobile app directly. So what makes UPI unique? Of course, so what are critical? I've already covered most of them, but just for the benefit of all, sorry, it has to be a little up. So a single two-factor authentication, as somebody was just saying, our regulators are some of the most benign, I would say, regulators in the world. And trust you on me, despite the recession and all in 2006 and all, India remained unscathed because the wonderful policies, forward-looking policies of our regulators. Having said that, I think it is one of the best answer to cash and delivery hassles. None of this is required. All of this is, and I'll cover later in my presentation. They've also added a lot of features here, security features, which is actually impacting the rise of UPI big time. What are the advantages of UPI? round the clock transactions. I said no banking has nothing, day and night nothing. I mean, it's all 30 seconds is the overall cycle within which you'll come to know whether it has gone through, failed, or not honored, or reduced cost of transactions. Practically, there are no cost for the end customers right now. And heightened security, a move towards a cashless economy, promotion of financial inclusion at the last mile. This is very interesting. You'll be surprised to know with the kind of merchant ecosystem that has come. Earlier, the problem was that, the merchants would not accept digital payments. If you recollect, maybe pre-UPI days, it was a tough time. But thanks to the several measures the government undertook, and of course, COVID necessitated the use of, contactless payments. And that is when it actually came up so beautifully well that I was just telling you it is 9 billion transactions clocked last, worth 14 lakh crores. I mean, that's like bigger than GDPs of several countries in Asia itself, leave aside outside of Asia. So this is what it is. And it is very simple. I'm sure all in the room must have done it, for sure. So I'll just skip this quickly. Of course, one thing is very important is virtual private address. The idea came from one of the bankers when we were discussing during our steering committee meetings. It came that if we have something as unique as an email ID, and that actually from there onwards, we went back to the drawing board and we came out with this virtual private address, payment address in this case. Okay, so how does it happen? Customer selects UPI as a payment mode, enters VP on UPI app, which is unique to you, as I just told you, receives notification for collection request. Please remember, for receiving the money, you don't need to put in your PIN. I'm sure UPI Chalega, they have been, advertising a lot just to make the people understand that for collection, for paying to somebody, you need to put in just to give your acceptance for the payment. But for receiving money, you need not pay it. That's one of the major reasons of frauds that is happening across the country. Accepts the collection request and enters the UPI PIN or mobile PIN and gets the confirmation. It's as simple as that, 6 steps. All of this happens within 30 seconds. There's some challenges that UPI has faced over a period of time. Of course, as with any digital payment or as with anything which has to do with internet or anything which is in the virtual world. So here technical glitches have been there for a while because, you understand from a 93,000 to X billion, and I'm sure as we are talking, I'm sure they must have already crossed 9 billion for the month in question. So having said that, I think technical glitches, yes, they faced because system overload. Any system would actually undergo with that kind of capacitization. It will go on under that. Software bugs, cyber security concerns. Yeah. As I was telling you, there have been frauds that have been happening. Sometimes because you see what happens, the two-factor authentication is such that it relies on two things, what you have and what you know. So if any one of this is compromised, rest assured it will be very difficult for you to control that fraud that time. But fortunately, if you inform the bank within the time, they can put a lien to it and of course save you from that big fraud. Consumer awareness. Still, as I was telling you, India is huge, 1.4 billion people on last count. I mean, I'm sure the transactions are really up. And now they're talking about 1 billion transactions. That's what they're talking about, consumer awareness. And NPCI has successfully addressed all of these, most of these in fact. Technical glitches have been, a lot of open banking initiatives have happened. A lot of systems and a lot of fintechs have been cooperating, and it's an ecosystem hackathons have been doing, because of which, they have been plugging the loopholes as and when they occur. And awareness has been, you must have seen there are a lot of ATL and BTL, NPCI and the banking ecosystem as a whole is doing in terms of educating people and making them aware how to use UPI. And UPI has consequently become more reliable, more secure, more user-friendly. And of course, it has been contributing almost 50% of the overall digital payments in India, 52% as I'm told today, is UPI today. Of course, on two classes, P2 and P2P, which are the two most important. And today we understand that even P2 have overtaken P2P, which is peer-to-peer versus peer-to-merchant, which is actually what we were aiming. Because if a merchant starts accepting payments digitally, big time, then the entire ecosystem will grow. Because most of your spending in retail payments, because average ticket size in UPI, I'm sure you people know, is close to 1,500-1,600. So daily needs are met through local merchants only. So the biggest case, just before this, I was the India Post and set up the India Post Bank. And trust me, 60 to 70% of India is in Bharat, as they say, rural India. And UPI has really helped indispensably in that financial inclusion, as is the vision of our government, And in the remotest place, because the last bank that I was there into was India Post Payment Bank, and you'll be surprised to know they service close to 1.54 lakh locations through Department of Post. 164-year-old organization, one of the oldest organizations in the world, and most recognized postal systems in the world. And this has been made possible thanks to AEPS, of course, one other offering we had, Aadhaar enabled payment system for withdrawals, and of course UPI for transfer of money. How UPI has impacted the Indian economy. Of course, payments is one of the biggest aspects of economy, our GDP, and it has really helped, along with the NEFT of RBI, which is one of the oldest payment systems in the world, such a phenomenally efficient payment systems, batch payment system, NEFT, and of course UPI. Financial inclusion, as I just told you, reduction in transaction cost for the customer is virtually free right now, and increased efficiency. As I told you, the fate of the transaction would be known to you in 30 seconds flat. So these are interesting figures as we speak. So this is UPI. Technically, it's not a sigmoid curve. It's a curve which is like going to infinity, apparently. So I'm sure. I distinctly remember we used to go to merchants. I was just telling a few people during the lunch break, or maybe probably early morning that, that we had to actually go to merchants and actually convince them to just put this on, that device for you to start accepting it. And I'm so happy that people, it's everywhere. People, whenever you go, they'll say Paytm karo or something karo, or GPay karo or Phone Pay karo. It has become a generic name now. Like I remember when I was in college, in my B school at IMC, I came to realize that, they used to say Xerox karo. So that was example given for photocopying as a reprographics example of Xerox. And today I understand that, UPI, NEFT are basically. So these are just figures. I'm sure they'll all be overwritten in a few months from now, and you'll find newer volumes taking over. So they talk about 83.75 billion at the close of 2023. That is what we'll close at. And future possibilities for growth, yes, of course. I'm sure you're aware with the Honorable PM promoting UPI and India stack across the world. Many of these countries, if you were to Google it, several of these countries where Indian diaspora is there, you are able to utilize this payment facility. And it's just a matter of time before UPI becomes global. In fact, the most important payment system across the world. So this is what they're saying. It is, they talk about the fact that there will be 1 billion transactions per day. Practically every Indian doing a UPI transaction, every day they're using one transaction at least. That is what the global trend says. And one interesting aspect which I'm personally very happy about is the last point that I write here, is peer-to-merchant transaction has actually overtaken peer-to-peer transaction. And once this happens, trust me friends, nothing can stop the growth of that particular payment system. This is how it is. This is what it shows. And I'm sure this is the tip of the iceberg, because if we actually become global the way we are trying, thanks to the efforts of our government, it's just a matter of time that these numbers will be overwritten, because the whole world becomes your canvas thereafter. 6-7 odd billion people in the world. 1.5 are here only in India. So the conclusion here is, so this is what it is. The volumes of the transaction have been actually, I would say, quadrupling, kind of. And of course, with that comes an added responsibility of most of the bankers, and I see the people who are into digital loans and all that, of making the public at large aware, because most of them would really trust that payment system completely, because it comes from somebody you are serving. You could be a banker, you could be like the digital, the fintechs that I just saw. So it's important for us to continuously keep the newer generation, the newer people who are trying it, aware of what could go wrong actually, and what would be the, what should they be their, areas of precaution. So this is where I think a lot of onus lies on the distinguished gathering here, that you should always continue educating whoever you meet, that what are the safety features one has to follow. For example, I just told you, for you're transferring money to your friend or somebody or your merchant, then fine to key in your PIN. But when you are actually receiving money, there's no use, there's no need to do it. Because many of the fraudsters are doing it, transferring a little amount to your mobile or to your account, and then maybe, making you believe them, and then doing what they do. So this is how it is. This is the future trend and conclusions. And with that, short and sweet. If there's anything that I can answer, I'll be very happy. And I would like to take, I think I still have around 2 minutes left. So having said that, I think I would like to talk a little bit, half a minute about account aggregator. Now, account aggregator is the next UPI, as Nandan Lekni Saab says very, very passionately. In fact, we have been very, very fortunate that he has been mentoring this space also, like he did it for UPI. It is a brilliant, concept wherein which, there are two sets of entities. It could be like, financial information providers, FIPs we call them, including all banks. It could be Kotak Bank, State Bank of India, SBI, Bank of India, anything for that matter, who has some financial information. On a consent basis of the customer who is accessing it, it can be provided on the needs of a customer to the financial information user, other sets of banks. So the same sets of banks can be information provider or user alternatively. So this is absolutely the complete democratization of data, probably the first in the world. Anywhere in the world, you will not find this kind of a thing. And I'm sure the Western world will take it up the way they took up digital payments from India. I'm sure. So it is one of the first of its kind where, complete control of your data is in the hands of the customer. So happy to answer any question, if any, and otherwise I'm done. Yeah, please. Can you please? Sure.
My name is Amrit, and I'm from Pune, Market Joy. I just want to know, for the user, the UPI payment is free, but actually how much each transaction is costing to the government or any agency?
I'm sorry, because I am no more part of NPCI now. It is difficult for me to say that. But it used to be something, of course, every transaction incurs a cost for your bank. And of course, so there's a cost, of course. But they are subsidizing it for the benefit of the customers, and which is why it is practically free right now. And of course, the government is doing it as well. So yeah, there is a cost for transaction. It's difficult for me to say. As I told you, I'm not a part of NPCI anymore. So please appreciate. But thanks to the digital banking initiatives, the government of India is, providing that for us, So make full use of it. Continue making India the biggest juggernaut in digital payment space. Any other question I would like to take? Otherwise...